I'm going to shortly make a video, and I wanted to first make a reaction to the game, watching the game, and then reacting, but I decided not to do that. So I'm just going to comment on the aspects of the Shinto stuff. Bro, I feel like literally people looking at me like, what the fuck? You know, there was actually a woman in a shop who looked at me. She stared at me for a little 10 seconds. She looked at me like this, like literally directly at me with a sharp stare, and she just looked at me like she wanted to literally burn a hole in me. I did not really notice this. Person who was with me at that moment noticed that and somehow didn't say a thing, which was really weird. I just didn't really notice that because I was washing my hands at the time. And imagine what would happen if, you know, a person is, for example, alone and someone literally tries to swirl a fucking edge hole into your brain. There was a little psycho stare, so I'm like, huh. But I recognize that it's probably someone who knows me through other people and were trying to do interesting things against me. So that's that. I wouldn't be shocked that people look at me like at a ghost, you know, like what the fuck, like that's literally, is that her? She's there, she's, you know, doing things, existing, walking around at a mall, buying things. Interesting. Anyways, to comment on the Fox wedding etc. about Silent Hill, I made another video, but I realized that's like super rude, super harsh, and people are gonna be so fucking upset about it. So I'm going to make it in a bit of a different manner, I suppose. Maybe less harsh. Maybe. I actually don't like this angle. Previous angle was better, but sure, whatever the fuck. Nobody cares. Speaking of, I honestly should have just kept that video and rolled with it. Who the fuck cares? It's like, do you? Oh my god, imagine trying to literally just fucking polish the shit, like soft wrap shell it for some pussy ass bastards who are going to be upset when I say that the West agenda is to walk in modern Western agenda, and just overall also as a pattern, same as some other historical aspects of other countries, is to walk into, per quote unquote, someone else's house and say, these are my values, I am saving you. You know, like there was a meme from Star Wars, I believe, where there was this Omnic, or however it's called, it literally almost like forcefully pushing the person to the ground, and the damn, I forgot, man, the names. Forcing to the ground and saying like, I'm saving you, yo, please surrender, you know, but in a worse manner though, because it wasn't just I'm saving you, please surrender. It was literally bloodshed and stuff like that, but like, yeah, let's not talk about it here. We're just going to mention the aspect of the modern Western agenda also pushing through with the I'm saving you, these are my values, and I'm going to speak about these values such as like freedom that they imply being their big ass value and being the main absolute goal and dream goal and everyone's dream and everything in everyone's life. Freedom, freedom to be what yourself, and why I'm going to explain why it's not possible for Hinako from the game. And something that is same as maybe perhaps fate, or maybe perhaps forte, because it's in that F, like forte strength, you know. And why it doesn't go with her fate and her true destiny and whatever it was shaped into, no matter how hard the Western agenda tries to push that the freedom is the main value and whatever that she should have pursued, and you know. So First of all, starting with the masks. Okay, what I want to say, the masks, and that she cut off her half of face, sliced it off. First of all, this game is in a dark, brutal setting, and there are rituals. Obviously, they're going to be much more brutal than it would have been in per se 3D material physical space, which is aka real life, which is what you and I are like living in the sense of daily matters. And we shouldn't really analyze this game and the setting from our triviality. We must analyze it from a deeper setting. That's incredible. Do you like it? Do you like that sound? Grinding machine, let's go. Let's freaking grind everything. Yeah. Go ahead. Imagine that meat just going like, man. Okay. Anyways, to continue, right? Triviality. I told my head like that because I didn't just apply that eyeshadow for no matter. So like literally watch it, like how it sparkles and shines at that. I don't have such big eyelids, so that's your tilt. This is what you have. Alright. I'm just going to go over the grinding machine because that's what y'all should enjoy anyways. Enjoy the trivialities of life, right? Why Kotayuki is not evil actually? Well, and also why is he not actually like possessed by the fox demon and blah blah? Because first of all, if we watch the backstory, he couldn't have been like constantly possessed like that, and he couldn't be like, he was already in a cult. He literally was, you know, he engaged in the ritual and was in a cult basically. We can see all these foxes and the others in cult, you know, this sort of family. So why is he not evil? Because he literally he banished the demons and the evil spirits from the realm, and he protected Hinako. It wasn't just as a means of being, you know, like kitsunes, like they're such evil bad spirits. They're just tormenting souls, and they're just being bamboozlers, like massive bamboozling, whatever. Really, well, read up the mythology, maybe understand that it's not true, and at the same time, yes, he was saving her. Alright, he was saving her, he was banishing that demon, and he understood that she's been possessed. The anxious thoughts she had previously, and the thing that led to another ending, that if you, spoiler alert, alright, led to another ending is because she was possessed by evil spirits, and this is why she was constantly having these disruptors in her head. No, it's not just, oh, you know, like, psychiatry, oh, you know, like, psychology. Please stop therapy talk. It's super annoying. As a person who studied psychology for 6 years, it's a super fucking annoying to hear this therapy talk on the surface level when you're only on a tip of an iceberg and you don't go any further, okay? That's important to note, and you can't just freaking go surface level drill with it and say, oh, my theory is just absolutely amazing. You are basically looking at what you want to see, and I would prefer it not to be like what you want to see, right? And this is why I'm saying that this basically this ritual was necessary, and this cult was necessary. This is an organization per se that leads in spirit realm and that restores the balance. If you read up the story, background story, you can see the mythological aspect of the foxes bringing back the balance, power, and prosperity to the village. So she literally she would have needed to actually engage to become her true shape. Why also? Because she, as according to the legend and what we read backstory, there is also a mention of a girl with divine blood who is born once in a long while. And the fox man mentioned this has been a wedding when one of the in one of the endings where it's not the good way, and in one of the endings where they are the almost the goddess Hinako and the other Hinako, two of them, right? When in that ending, where they like hug, I don't remember what it's called, that ending, but when we see that ending, it is one of those where got sort of lost because I had to stop, pause the video. Wait, let me think back to what I wanted to say. Yeah, right, the divine blood that I mentioned about her, in that she needs to do this stuff. Oh, and I mentioned that the Foxman says there that it's been, when the Kitsune gets very angry, one of them, that he drank too much. It's not Kotoyuki, it's another one, actually. And he got so angry that he basically spoke through Kotoyuki, possessed him to speak through him, and make an angry message that Kotoyuki couldn't seduce her to make her a wife, blah blah. That he's pathetic, nah. And in response to that and that situation as a whole, and the wrath of the Kitsune, the Kotoyuki says that it's been many moons since there was a wedding, you know, so he's drank too much. He's usually very kind, and that just explains that his wrath and his special anger for how rude the situation turned out, because that is extremely rude, what Hinako does again and again, and just pursues with it. I mean, sure. Well, it's because of also the many moons. This was connected to me saying that there was no other girl for many moons to possess the divine blood to be able to get the Fox wedding happening, right? About the masks and the cutoff of the half of faith, etc. Why? Because there's a Japanese theory of masks. Usually, if I remember, it's 3 masks. One that you present to the public, one that you present to close ones, and one that you don't show to anybody. And Hinako, why was there that mask in the ending of Fox wedding? That's her anxious mask, that's her usual self, that she was traumatized so much and saw marriage as something so despiteful, like something despicable and torturous, in that she would not want to be one of that. And her mask, aka one of her personality parts of herself, one of herself, was so anxious and so embellished with this anxiety and this torturous sense that she would have reacted same way, and the trauma would hit in even if she got married to the other guy. Shu, I believe, was his name. We don't see that because they just run off in one of the endings, and that's it. We don't see what happens next. If she got married to him, she would also have these same responses. Alright. And why I'm mentioning this, because she herself mentioned that Kotoyuki has been nothing but kind towards her. So even to the kindness and his protectiveness, she still in the end responds with this anxiety. That's a trauma, and that's something that she lacks control thereof. And this is also why her sister mentioned this, that she has to deal with this also guilt, also with other friendships and other relationships in her life. Before what? Before embarking into rebirth. And about ritualistic aspect, now we're gonna turn to it. Alright, what it means to do these 3 sacrifices, this could be connected very much so interestingly, 3 parts. This could be also interlinked with the sign of symbolism of the clan, but also the 3 cups one person mentioned in the comments. I'm just going to give credit. I don't remember the name of the person, but they said it. You may see it on one of the viral videos. Same as me saying that people are just simps for the Foxman, while they completely misunderstand his character, same as the character of Kitsune as a whole, and that way just portraying it to some simping culture. Culture, I mean. Okay. Anyways, there was a 3 cups when they get married. They share 3 cups, drink 3 times, the husband and wife, and the Foxman gave Hinako drink 3 times, which was also portraying this aspect of marriage that she's so traumatized about, and this was the main issue, that she couldn't get over this guilt, trauma, etc. It was so difficult for her, and one of the parts that was most difficult for her to face was the aspect that was actually hidden for quite a long time. She thought that her mother was so helpless in the marriage, that her power was given away, that mother was just complacent, and she was like submissive to husband fully and everything like that, and that was what Hinako didn't like at all. But then her mother explains to her it's not actually true, that they actually had a big fight once with the father, etc., that she actually took a big role in it, and that she stopped giving him nice food. She made very disgusting food. She even threw carpet dirt into his tea, and that he literally gave up after like 2 days, and he said sorry to her and was on the ground literally pleading her for mercy and being very sorry for how he has behaved. Alright, so that's the hidden aspect that she didn't know about, that her mother actually had a lot of let's say such a manipulative force in that marriage, in spite of what was portrayed to Hinako, that she just didn't show that or tell about it, that he was pleading that way. So what's next? What else to add about it? What else can I say? The masks, I explained it. The drinks, and then the aspect of control and manipulation, and that she had power over him, explained it. And actually the power dynamic, many people see it as very diverse or divergent from what is portrayed actually in the game, I believe, because they think that the women in marriage are very helpless, that they are so, submissive and helpless and torturous, right? But at the same time, if we watch it, because of how they looked like, they said that all those women there with the mask, the fox mask and everything else, they were making, sorry for the background noise, nobody cares for the videos that I make, so please thank me for the videos that I make with all these explanations and my knowledge, by supporting the channel, putting a like, and etc, etc. Alright, so to continue, what I want to add is, just a sec, that the women with the masks, right, they said that the face was almost looks like stuff under the mask, etc., etc. Extreme differences from men, but at the same time, if you check closely, then you can notice that these women, they have a longer fox snoot, much more prominent than the males do. And fox is also a symbol of cunningness, wisdom, being clever, right? So if they embody more of that sense and have more of a fox mask, means they're more manipulative, cunning at the same time. Vice versa, reverse logic to those lovely people who said that Kotoyuki is evil. Then these women are much more evil. Well, you know why? Because they have a more prominent fox face and fox mask, which means that the fox identity is much more imbued into them, and that they are much more cunning, much more manipulative, have more fox power than the men do. Alright? At the same time, why this theory proves right? That Hinako wasn't removed of strength or power. Well, because obviously not just the divine blood moment, the background story, but also that when she went through these rituals, she cut her arm off, but at the same time, she was replaced with a fox arm. They gave her strength. They didn't take away from her, but actually imbued her with divine strength. And she could not only destroy these monsters very effectively, but also soul siphon. How is that making her weak? Is a good question. Wouldn't she remain much weaker as a human being? Also, what was mentioned, why she was not becoming weaker, is and why she actually had the divine blood and power, because it was told by her sister that if she was somebody else in that realm, her rudeness, aka her spitefulness against these values and against what she has to go through, against her fate, destiny, and against her being, was very rude. And if she was someone else, if she was a simple, let's say, human being, she would have been long gone or turned into some shape like we saw the shapes of lost souls per se. Alright. Or she could have also ended banished, same as these lost souls. So that's that. Another addition to why Hinako is not weak, and why it is her fate per se, much more so than just pursuing whatever career she wants to in life and embarking into the space, whatever, the games that they played, nothing wrong with that, but like at the same time, she couldn't have run away from her fate because the ties and based on the backstory were too strong. And if you actually know something about a spirituality and the true destiny path, you are not going to argue with that. It is her fate and her destiny to embark into this, alright. And also about the brutal rituals. Why are they so brutal? Blah, blah, blah. If you know about real spirituality and real mysticism, real esoteric sense, real witchcraft, real spiritual sense, real ascensions, those are extremely brutal things that you go through near-death experiences, and that puts you into the rebirth, aka your ascension into your true destiny, into your true path and your true spiritual self. Alright? So what's next? What else? Fox wedding. The rain and fox wedding. That's a very true aspect. They say that when it's a light shower, he said it's a good sign. It's a sign that there is a fox wedding. Yeah. So, yeah, that's an interesting aspect. That's overall very cool. What else? And that, yeah, in ritual, you have to go through these sacrifices as you have to go through in spiritual ascension and into embarking into a true destined path. You go through these brutal experiences and spiritual ascension. These are divine tests that are put through to deal with your in-depth spiritual, psychological self in your deepest layers in your psyche, which is your subconscious level that is tied to the astral realm. And this is why she faints so many times, and this is why she meets the Foxman there, because that's the astral realm. That is the easiest where he can embark into to assist her, to help her, and also other things and demons to destroy her. What else? Well, the symbolism on, I think everyone can look it through nicely. The symbolism of what's on the kimonos, yukata, and other things. Omamori is very cute, very interesting. The birds, her sister was in a bird clan, I believe. I believe there are like several clans, fox clan, bird clan, and there was also mentioned a rabbit, so rabbit clan. All based on shrines, I believe. These could have been, if I remember from story correctly, they were facing each other. And then the fox came in and solved the issues and embarked into good fortune. Gave the good fortune. So this was a path to restore the balance in the meaning of this village and everything, and this was why it was so important for her to embark into this. It's much higher than just her helping herself to solve her whatever with her misery. We saw in one of the endings she was just literally taking a bunch of pills, and then she ended up going complete raucous havoc and massacre. So, you know, is that a better ending? Absolutely not. She can like face her demons properly. So, do I believe the fox's wedding is a good ending? I would say yes, pretty much so. That's probably the best ending actually possible. That she becomes the goddess of that specific fox shrine that they were actually. It was a specific. It wasn't Inari Okami. It was specific shrine that was mentioned in the game too. So I believe that's one of the best endings that can happen. Her actually embarking into her destined path and becoming the strongest form of her identity. Why I was told that you're not Shimizu Hinako anymore, because she's not Shimizu Hinako. As a goddess, she's not Shimizu Hinako. What the hell? It's just her earthly identity in that meaning. One of 3D material space identity is that way. And that means that it's one of her like these masks, these personalities. To become the highest self, you must remove all these masks and you must face that core, and then she imbued that core, these ritual sacrifices, and ascended, was reborn into highest being. Why she could have forgotten her personalities? Well, because they're actually useless from spiritual perspective. Did you see all the anxiety? Did you see all the stuff and this crisis that she had? Obviously, completely unnecessary. That just doesn't help. It's counterproductive to, you know, it's absolute zero logic to have these things. They can help you ascend, but these are not to push you to ascend. They're not something that you need to have in your goddess form. So obviously you have to remove these masks and purify. She had to purify herself to fit within the realm and to actually embark into the real tasks that she needed to do to restore the balance, which was the fox wedding, etc., etc. Well, it was actually nice that they like actually became friends with Shu and Kotoyuki, you know, like like brows and stuff like that. It was actually not bad at all, and that again proves that Kotoyuki is not evil. Okay, that's all, pretty much. Also, why she didn't become demon, she became higher power, not a monster, how some people imply, because it's literally a symbolism of her being shown, and the Foxman to Kotoyuki being shown with that sun behind. That's one of the most prominent 10 symbols, which is heavenly, which means highest being, which means higher, which means divine power, blah blah. So literally that means that she was embarking into becoming a goddess, not a monster. No matter how much you want to push that thing to make them look evil, that's not true. 10 for Kitsune to be the highest would be 10, Tenko. Then there are other types of Kitsune. So, but she was her own type of, according to the shrine, alright, that they were preaching, their own type of shrine that they had there in the game. So it was mentioned in one of those reading parts, descriptions. What else can I add? Well, the water that she saw as hellish water, hell and everything, it was because she was literally possessed by negative forces that she was barely fighting through. And the water was actually a purification water in that realm, and it wasn't some hellish water, it was purification water. And she saw it through her own lens of distraction and being possessed by evil spirits. This is why she needed to go through cleansing, etc., etc., etc. She was operating through different realms too. The Foxman's realm, where they were, then the realm where she was fighting the purgatory type of thing with the lost souls and everything, where she had to purge these things, she had to face her guilt, etc., etc., etc. And this was why her sister was mentioning that if she wasn't with these divine powers, then she would have been lost already, and she would have been dealt with already. So it was like, come to your senses, like seriously, come face it already. Like you can't just continue in whatever form you want. And this is actually teaching us that you shouldn't actually pursue the means of freedom at all costs, because your freedom can actually be extreme selfishness towards dangers of realms. And this is why in spirituality, in order to ascend, etc., you have to go through these absolutely intense things, not just because of that. That's part of facing your own ego and stuff like that. But anyways, it's extreme selfishness to just pursue whatever the hell you want to do, and she could have literally just died in that purgatory, which happened several times. What else? I don't know what else to add. This is like a super long video, but I think I basically said everything I wanted to say. Oh, lastly, like, that's an interesting detail about him having black nails. Black teeth were very popular, fashionable, and beautiful sign of beauty time ago in Japan, but black nails are very interesting, intricate detail that make him even more attractive and have even more sims for him as being the perfect e-boy little. But anyways, thank you for watching. Bye.